What does it mean to be a mom to you?
To be a mom, it's a sacrifice, but at the same time it's rewarding because you get to see things on a day-to-day basis that you're doing something to make the world different. I have 6 kids. I have 6 people that are going out into the world and get a chance to make a difference. I always wanted to be a mom since I was little. I wanted to have a lot of kids, and I did.
It's super rewarding to watch, your kids who you spend your entire life trying to mold become what it is that God's called them to be. But then there's these seasons in life where, all of a sudden they're not your babies, and so they're making their own choices and doing their own things, and so you start transitioning as they transition.
Motherhood is hard, and I knew that going into it. Once you're in it, you're kind of winging it sometimes. And I told all my kids when they became teenagers, I said, look, I don't know what I'm doing half the time, but I'm trying to do the best I can. And I've never been a mother to you as a teenager before.
Yeah, thank you.
It's important to me for them to be an individual, and to know that everybody's different and that they don't have to be like anybody else because God made them different than everybody else. Every person's a unique individual, so everybody comes with their own, trials and, for me, errors sometimes. But I think that for the most part, I enjoy who each one of my kids are, and I like them as people. So as they become older, I think that I benefit from that. If there's something that they dream about, that they want to make happen, then I try to help them make it happen.
Being a mom, man, it's so much harder than what I envisioned as a little girl. Super rewarding. It's neat to, spend your life teaching your kids how to follow Christ, and which I think is probably the biggest part of being a mom. Like as a little kid, you're protecting them and then just teaching them to love Jesus. And then as they get older, that role kind of changes a little bit, and spend a ton of time praying for them, and just hoping that they follow into whatever steps it is that Christ is calling them to fall into. I think it's just learning when I'm supposed to step in and when I'm supposed to step out at this stage, and being more of an encouragement to them, not telling them how to do it, but letting them talk through how to do it. And typically, if I just if I can remember, without being bossy, how to let them talk through it, then they can usually figure it out. You guys, and just talking through yourselves, you have the wisdom now, instead of me having to pour the wisdom into you. As a mom of young kids, you are leading the relationship, right? But as a mom of adult kids, you almost have to let your adult kids lead the relationship and decide what type of involvement, like how much they need and what they need, instead of you saying you need this and we're going to do it this way, So
there's no such thing as a perfect mother. So releasing yourself of that heaviness of I have to be the perfect mom off your shoulders is the best thing. Get in the Word. Like, even if you have to just take one verse and chew on it for a month, keep that in your heart. Pray for your kids. Get a support system somehow, some way, because you're going to need it, and get to be able to get time for yourself, that kind of thing. So you have to know when you are at the breaking point, you have a support system.
I think first and foremost, being tethered to the Word, so that you can continue being identified by Christ instead of the world. Get the encouragement that you need on a regular basis. So you've got to take that time to be fed before you can, feed others. And the only substantial food for us is God's Word. So if we don't take time every single day to be fed by the Lord, then at the end of the day, we are going to be worn out. And the job is almost impossible without His Word. My second bit of advice is take time to enjoy what you enjoy too. You know, I think a lot of times as moms, we have this mom guilt where we feel like we have to be with our kids 24/7 and not take time away. But there is something really beautiful about being restored and just that respite. And so just taking time to be restored, you know, getting outside and taking time by yourself and with your girlfriends or whatever is really important. And then remembering that your kids can't be the center of everything. Your husband comes before your children, and a lot of times the world will tell us that seems really cruel. But the best thing we can do for our children is to have a loving, godly relationship with our spouses, so that when our kids grow up, they know what a good marriage looks like. They know what a strong relationship looks like. And that's the best thing, the best way we can care for our children.
As a mom, it's hard, but you have to understand it's fulfilling too. You know, it's not going to be easy, but it's the hardest job you'd ever love, kind of thing. You know, so I think it's very rewarding to be a mother.